It's a new week and we have a new recruit at Brimwood Farm. This is Mr. Grumbles. He's a spur-thighed Mediterranean tortoise and he's a rescue. So it seems to me at this time of year there are a lot of rescue tortoises around. Perhaps people don't want to put them into hibernation, or perhaps they've bought them early in the year and they've got bored, but there are a lot of tortoises around at the moment that are needing a rehome. So he was a rescue tortoise given to me by a couple of friends who had rescued several others. Now this is my actual chick brooder, but I need to go and get a heat lamp that I can put in a tank. So Mr. Grumbles is quite small, so he can't go into hibernation. So he is going to be going into this tank. But I want to get a nice heat lamp that kind of comes over the top and goes in, and I haven't got one at the moment. So for now, he is just in here. He's super cute. He's very small. I'm going to bring him out so you can see him a little bit better because the red light is kind of difficult. Here he is. Hello, Mr. Grumbles. I've always wanted a tortoise. And so he's going to be living here. They get quite big, so obviously when we're on the farm he can trundle around outside and we'll hibernate him. But for now, he'll just live inside and be our little friend. Well, it's that time of year, and if you haven't done so already, it's really important you start bringing in your frost tender plants because we're in November, and so there are likely to be quite a few frosts around. So the Dicksonia antarctica is in the tree fern. There is the base, and here are the leaves. Now you can obviously leave it outside if it's in situ, and you can wrap it because the most fragile part of the plant is from here to here. You basically don't want that to get frosted and rotten. So you can leave it in situ, but ours is in a pot, so we bring it in anyway. The kiwi has dropped almost all of its leaves. The ensete is now in as well. Again, they can be left outside and wrapped, but I just bring the whole thing in because it's in a pot. So I bring it all in. I've also had a big clip of things that have been plagued by bugs. So my lantana was plagued by whitefly, so I have cut almost everything off apart from a few little leaves. Now we're in a lean-to conservatory here, so it does get some heat from this wall from the house, so although it's cold it does get a little bit of heat, so they will completely they're not completely cold and they will keep growing to a degree, and that can be an issue for pests because it doesn't completely kill the pests. But now I've cut this back, I can make sure that if any whitefly or aphids do land on it, I can spray them. The same is to be said with the hibiscus. You can see I've had a spray earlier, and these little dead whitefly that have been killed off. But yeah, if you haven't brought your frost tender plants in, your pelargoniums, ensetes, tree ferns and things like that, do that now before the worst frosts come and they kill them. Well, it seems to be the week for rehoming and taking on rescues, because not only have we got Mr. Grumbles, but you will now notice there's a couple more budgies in here. So the 3 yellow and green ones are the babies of Sunny's first batch. The blue, yellow-faced blue is the second baby, and then we have this girl here, the blue one, and then we have this violet hen here. And they are new this week. They are both rescue budgies from a friend's partner's mother who was looking for them. She didn't give them enough attention anymore. She felt they'd be better with some other birds, and so they've moved in. They're both girls also, which is really, really good. So I can sort of switch them around, and they're both very broody, so it may be that I pop one in with Pluto, because Pluto is not he's teamed up with his hen, but they haven't laid any eggs or anything, so I'm thinking of switching them out for one of these two, possibly the violet, because she's very, very pretty. So yeah, yet more birds. No eggs as yet from the budgies from Sunny, but I will keep you up to date with any eggs and then chick news as we progress through the coming months. Well, I'm on to another batch of microgreens, so I thought I would uncover them. So here we have radish, and we have pak choi. Now, I haven't obviously got this completely right because the pak choi has got a very bad germination. I think there probably wasn't enough pressure here. I haven't cracked this growing on cacao matting yet. Then I need to do more work, but it's working, and I'm not actually selling stuff yet. I'm just kind of going through the motions every 10 days or so to see what works. But we have got germination, and this is at day 4, so they're ready to come out. And then here are our sunflower seeds. They're doing quite well again, but again, I tried something different this time, so I put matting across the whole thing instead of having little bits, because they kept falling off. But that hasn't worked either, really, because you've got divots in it. So I'm going to have to cut mats exactly the right size, I think. Or perhaps, as other people do, go to the soil system. I'm going to turn the lights on these so they can start to grow over the next few days. But the packaging that I bought last time, that gusseted cellulose packaging, was a fail. The microgreens went wilty really, really quickly. So instead, I've got this. Now this, although it looks like plastic, is actually plant-based. So it's vegware, and it's made from plants. So this actually composts. Now, how it composts in a homegrown heap, I'm not sure, because it does need the perfect conditions to compost down, the right temperatures, the right microbial mix, but it's better than plastic. So it does work out quite expensive though. It works out 54p per unit. So if you think you're going to have to add that onto your customer sales, it does push the price up. But as I say, if it's a compostable packaging and people know that, then they may be willing to pay a little bit more just to know they're not littering. But yes, I'm going to turn the lights on for these next set of microgreens, and we'll see how we go from there. So on Smallholding Diaries, about a month ago, I took these Christmas cacti cuttings. I took 3, and you can see down here, there's a really good root system coming out. So they were left to dry for about 3 days, because you don't want to put this heel of the plant straight into moist compost because it rots. You want to let it dry, kind of scab over a little bit, and then you want to put it on soil, and then these little roots start to come out. So I've got these 3 plants. I also have had a few flower buds forming, so actually you can see here there is a flower bud forming here, so that needs to be squashed and nipped off, because you don't want the plant putting the energy up into the leaves and up into the flower. You want it to actually be putting it down into the roots. I'm going to give it a nice water. You can keep your Christmas cacti cuttings more moist than you would other succulents. And then over the next couple of weeks, now they've started going, they should root really, really well, and we'll have more plants, which is always good. And this is why I love a good Cornus. Plain green most of the year, become autumn. Look at those colours. Just looks fab. You've got the little white berries of the flowers as well, which is pretty cool. And then all this beautiful leaves. And the leaves carry on as well, because when they fall to the floor, I think they actually look pretty when they're in the bed and they're just kind of these little red and yellow leaves. And then of course when all the leaves have died completely, you get all this stem, which is amazing. And this is why I cut them back every year, because you want to make more and more stems coming. So this is actually 1 year's growth. They were cut down, so they're well established, but they were cut down, and then all of this has grown in 1 year. The only thing that would be better is if I had another one there, and another one there, and another one there, to create this whole show all the way down. And actually I might think about doing that next year. But for now I'm really enjoying this beautiful, beautiful Cornus and all the beautiful colour it brings to the garden. But I have to say, this little poly has worked really well at keeping the fox off the spinach bed. So if I show you inside, here we go, and you can see all those little spinaches, and at the far end, chard. It's doing much better, I don't have to worry now coming out every morning and finding things dug up. Now there are a few spinaches, as you can see here, that are a bit close together, but I've got gaps. So what I'm going to do is I am going to wait till they're a little bit bigger. They've got maybe a couple of true leaves on them, and then I will move them. I'll take the poly off, I will move them into proper lines. This central lines has the best germination, and I'll make sure they're all spaced up properly. And then this poly can stay on all winter until the spring, and actually it will keep everything very nice and warm, and they'll grow up nicely. Now it hasn't stopped the fox completely. Put that down. You can see the fox has had a little dig around here, but at least if that's all he can do, if that's all he's digging, it's on the edge and not disturbing the majority of stuff inside, then I'm pretty happy.